Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and today I'm here with just one of my co-hosts, Josh.
And today we are reviewing The Drama, a movie that we were kind of came out of nowhere, it felt like, but we definitely were excited to see just because it's starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. I feel like the marketing for it was pretty short, but they did a pretty damn good job with it with the short time. It is an A24 film, which is something that if we're seeing it, we got interested in that because it's always a risk, but they're getting better because like A24 felt like just bought up everything during the writer's strike since they signed First Up. So they're kind of not almost like themselves anymore. But this one is definitely fits the script of an A24 film with the movie that it was. So I guess we kind of just jump into it. Do you want to? I guess we can give a brief description of the film. Probably have already seen it, but essentially this is just a film about Charlie and Emma. They're going to get married, and she just reveals a blockbuster of a secret right before the wedding day. And that secret was the fact that she was almost a school shooter. And when that got revealed, because I went into this pretty blind, saw
They did a good
very
job
little about
of
it.
everyone going into it
Did you
blind, I
see
thought.
the shot that they made for the
Yeah,
cover art of
yeah, I've
it?
seen like
Was
since it
originally
came
the
out.
gun to
Yeah,
it. Yeah, and that was, I just remember my jaw just opening. You're like, oh shit, what a funny plot to, to have the movie be. And then it was just a fun little balance of both being taking the topic pretty seriously, but at the same time just being how ridiculous, crazy, and dramatic that would cause it being right before your wedding day, questioning who you're about to marry, even though everybody at that dinner party revealed some fucked up shit. That's for sure. They got off pretty clean. I feel like what they're talking about. Like what's her name? Rachel. Hey,
Rachel.
you definitely killed a disabled kid. I think we just went by that way too fast. That
Hey,
was
I didn't.
just
We'll talk about that. I didn't go over
yeah.
that too quick.
Okay. Either way, that happened for sure. Mike, I can't remember what Mike's was. I don't think Mike's was
Mike's
that
was
bad.
that there was like a dog in an alley, and he basically used his ex-girlfriend as like a shield in front of
Oh,
him from the dog.
yeah. No, but Mike was a real one. He redeemed himself throughout the whole film. Mike was definitely like, I feel like the only level-headed guy throughout this entire thing.
I mean, yeah,
His
yeah,
Even during the Best Man, he was trying his best to just have everything be chill. And he was both on Charlie's Emma's side. It felt like the whole time. But yeah, I don't know how he was with Rachel. How that pairing did not make sense. But yeah, so well, hey, go with your thoughts then. You said you want to say something about Rachel. What do you want to say?
Rachel was the worst character in this movie. I'll say it. What she did was worse than what Emma did because she actually went through with it. As long as after the fact, the things that she did reaction wise and the way that she treated her husband as well as her work and Emma, you know, to me, Rachel was the villain of this movie. I'm a strong believer in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious that she was written to be the kind of counterpart character of like taking things too far, kind of being one of those people of being like, oh, one of my family members was affected by this, so then now this is my personality. Even though it's a serious topic, it's a real thing. She was
Right.
valid to a point. She was valid to a
Yeah.
point. Yeah. And I do also think though of what I liked about the film was Emma was obviously an untrustworthy narrator. And so that's what kind of made it. I really liked Charlie's investigation throughout like day or so that it was happening. And then hearing the dad even talk about Emma and then that just trauma coming up and then really believing like, is what we're hearing actually true? Did she actually recover from this? Is she really just, hey, she was influenced? It happens. She fell down a pipeline that can easily happen. I mean, everybody talks about that early 2016 YouTube of the alt-right pipeline. Like, this shit can happen. She didn't go through with it. But did she actually recover from this? Did she actually change? I think it was kind of a little bit open-ended with that of who she really is with how the movie ended of them kind of having that cute little scene at the restaurant. But yeah, I do agree with you that Rachel, I think on purpose, was technically the worst character of this to allow
Yeah.
Emma to kind of you to be able to feel that dynamic of, oh, do you believe her or not?
Right. And yeah, I think like you said, one of the good things about this movie, I think like just the dialogue it's caused amongst like people who've seen it, the conversations people have after the movies, like in the theater, I had a pretty good experience of like the people in it were very invested, and like the scenes where like you saw younger Emma like trying to record a video and her computer kept like needing to like stuff, like people were laughing out loud,
Yeah.
which I was, and I was like, okay, good, other people are laughing at this. So that was good. And then when Charlie kisses his coworker like right before the
Oof.
wedding, like there's audible
Yeah.
gasps in the theater.
Oh,
So like I thought that part kind of like added to it, that like the theater experience, like people were into it, which I thought was cool because let me tell you, as someone who saw the menu in a theater of people who did not appreciate the comedy to the level my brother and I did, we felt a bit like Joker laughing at some of the scenes that others were not laughing at. So I was glad that other people understood the assignment when it came to this movie. But yeah, I think just the conversations that it kind of brings up is why it was so interesting, and why, like you said, this was, you know, an A24 movie that felt like it was more A24 than some of their movies have been in the past. If this actually
yeah.
covered topics that were more interesting and deeper and took them somewhat serious. Um, at times it was, you know, a little funny or whatever, and I think that's what it needed to. So that's I really appreciated that part of it.
Yeah, and I do like how it kind of split because they have obviously two just dynamic co-stars here with Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. I liked how it gave both of them just equal screen time to really shine. Like Emma just early on when I got revealed, it kind of being all Zendaya there about how she's like she's having those dreams and you can't tell if it was dreams or if it was the arguments they already had or she was just imagining it. So then you're really thinking, is she gonna break again? And then having the kind of second part or where it got closer to the wedding day of it being all Charlie breaking and him trying to rationalize everything, him having those talks with Mike, and then obviously Rachel was not helping things, and then having that god awful awkward exchange with the cousin in the wheelchair, him just looking like a fucking psycho. To then, of course, yes, that was funny, but it was like, oh fucking hell, Charlie with his coworker,
Yeah.
um, and then the fight breaking out because of that. Yeah, I think it was this film had fun with a serious topic to the point where it almost even at times felt like this was something that you would see on like I don't know, dude, like almost a Family Guy plot of how ridiculous it was at times, but
Yeah.
still kept it leveled. Um, yeah, it was a stunner for me. It felt I went into it so blind, and I'm surprised that it stuck the landing. I was quite worried that it wasn't going to, just because it is A24, and I'm like every time they hook me in,
Yeah.
sometimes they
Some.
let me down at the end.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the ending was
Unfortunately.
going to it was going a little bit long, and I was getting worried. I was getting worried.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely, they were able to wrap it up relatively quickly to when I was like, okay, is this going to start dragging on? They kind of got it taken
Yeah,
care of, and I really liked the ending. Like you said, I thought they did a good job of explaining like Zendaya's like Emma's background of what happened and then what her life has been post. And I liked the ending, the fact that they ended up coming together again, because it is, you know, like eventually, like you said, like people can just be very impressionable and go through things at times, but if they actually change, like some people do actually change, and that doesn't mean that they, you know, deserve to, because of what happened to them when they're younger, that they can't have, you know, a good life. So I like that part of the ending. um I will say weaknesses though for this movie. I thought the writing, especially with Rachel, was pretty bad. Like I thought Rachel was so over the top and ridiculous that I was like, okay, I think most people are going to leave this hating her, but not because like she was a good person to hate, just because they went so extreme with her that it was just so
mm-hmm.
ridiculous. I was like, okay, yeah, obviously everyone's not going to like her. Like just the way she handled everything was terrible. I thought it was very strange why the cousin was at the wedding when that happened in the movie. I was
Yeah,
like, why the fuck, when it was very clear Charlie has not met her, so there's no way Emma also would have met her. So like, why is just the maid of honor's cousin at the wedding? Makes no sense to me. So that was another thing that was just like, okay, that like just was trying to add to the drama of like Emma seeing her at her wedding and then seeing Rachel talking to her cousin, just added like an extra layer of drama during the wedding. That was just like, that's just, why is she there? So yeah, I just thought from like a writing standpoint of Rachel, to me, she was the big thing that left me a little bit like, they just went so over the top that it's like it wasn't good writing that everyone hated her. It's like you did it in a very simple way of like people hate her because you were so ridiculous.
Yeah, and they kind of flipped the script with that. I was definitely expecting Mike to be what Rachel was. You know, I was thinking that maybe he's gonna be that kind of bro coded character. I would be like, yo, dude, she's a fucking psycho. Like, you gotta dump that girl. Because in the beginning, they definitely were having a weird dynamic amongst the dinner table. You can tell they weren't fully. Emma was never comfortable with Rachel or
Yeah,
Mike, so then that's why I was really expecting Mike to be that. So I agree with you with Rachel. Then I would also say Mike sometimes was a bit too much of a background character. So it really was a lot of just Emma and Charlie, but luckily they nailed it. But yeah, I can see that. It's definitely not a perfect film.
right. But yeah, overall, I mean, I still enjoyed it. Also, I thought it was wild that Blake, I think, was the coworker's boyfriend's name. His move to just headbutt Charlie, I thought was an insane move. Like, why not a punch? Like, that's an absurd first move to do. Go for a headbutt, like nuts,
Yeah.
psycho. Um, yeah, overall, I mean, I definitely enjoyed this movie more than I thought I might. Just not knowing what was going into it was fun. But I mean, they did exactly what they wanted to do. They had two A-list stars. They're like, hey, we have a movie, come see it. It was a low budget, so I've seen that it already was successful for box office wise. But it was just cool to have a movie that was marketed basically just being like, hey, we have two A-listers. There's a big twist we're not telling you in any of the marketing. Come see it. And I enjoyed that take for sure.
Yeah, and I also really like the fact that it just Zendaya and Robert Pattinson felt very different in this film, so I'm not getting that fatigue from them because I am worried that could happen this year because they are both in so many movies, but they did a great job making themselves distinct accents. He was actually kind of more authentically what his actual normal voice is, but Zendaya kind of a little bit, her voice was a little different. But yeah, like you said, the movie's doing decent. I mean, I heard a lot of good talk about it. The reviews are all around the kind of 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, where it's going. I do know, I will say this is a little bit breaking news with this movie. There's some controversy with the director that is still getting vetted right now. I guess apparently he had an interesting essay back in the day when he was younger. So we'll see what happens with that if that impacts
Interesting.
this. But that has come out. Apparently, it came out right a week before the movie came out, but didn't get much attention. But when I was literally just looking up Rotten Tomatoes and getting more TikToks in my feed, I just saw one person talk about it, looked it up, saw some articles were kind of still vetting the situation, but curious how that impacts this movie or that director because this was definitely successful and a good film.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't know. I hadn't heard that stuff yet, but yeah, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's gonna do it. What do you rate this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I walked out of this one kind of feeling like how the recent films we've been watching, where it's like, man, I can't say too much bad about it, but I can't say it's like one of the best things I've ever watched. So I feel like it is just a solid 8 out of 10, just right there for me. I feel like I'm with everybody else on the ratings with it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I went 8.2 out of 10 is what I rated this movie. Like you said, I enjoyed it for the most part. At the end of the day, I mean, you put Robert Pattinson in anything, there's a good chance I'm going to like it. So definitely I have some bias of just both the actors being big supporters of him. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie. Like you said, is it one that I have a ton of negatives for? No, but is this a movie that I'm going to tell everybody to go see and act like it's a top movie and guarantee I'm going to watch this for the rest of my life? No, not that either. Just it was good for the moment. And, if that moment comes up later in life, it might to watch it again, but who knows? So, not disappointed. That's the main thing.
But yeah.
So, I think that's going to do it for this video. As always, let us know in the comments below if you watched the drama, what your thoughts were. If you don't agree with us that Rachel is the worst character, you're a terrible human being. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.